Hey guys, my name is Max Convexity. Thanks for tuning in my channel. I appreciate y'all for being here. Have what I hope is going to be a good one planned for y'all today. It's called Who Was Jim Simons and What Did He Invent and What Does it have to do with high yield ETFs? All right, so Jim is, he's a mathematician. I have a soft spot in my heart for math, as you guys know. I talk about it all the time. Anyway, he's about my dad's age. He's a few years younger than my dad. He went to Cal Berkeley and he got a doctorate in, I believe, mathematics and statistics. Anyway, he went through several jobs, and then in the 80s, he landed in finance, and he founded something called Renaissance Technologies, which was a quantitative hedge fund. I've heard before it was the first one. And maybe it was the first famous one. Now, what they did is they're the first people to make models and algorithms kind of standard Wall Street stuff. Nowadays, we just think of models and algorithms just part of Wall Street. It wasn't always that way. Back in the old days, you used to pay somebody to go through the Wall Street Journal and pick stocks for you. And the idea was, and there were some guys that were good at that. And you know, a guy that ran a really good fund, like Peter Lynch, for instance, he could beat the market. Wasn't quantitative. It was judgment related. What Jim's doing is totally different. He was the first quant on Wall Street. I believe emotions are enemy number one in trading, really in life. I think they are. A quantitative model takes emotions and feelings out of the equation. You know, my total return doesn't care about your feelings. Jim started the entire industry of quantitative finance. A quant typically may not even have an opinion on the markets going up or down. They're achieving their edge with math and statistics. I've always been convinced there's a secret ratio that the pros know that beats the market. I've always said it's not really so much about knowing if the market's going to go up or down tomorrow, but it's about being positioned correctly no matter what it does. This is why I was attracted to options. In option trading, especially option selling, oftentimes you can make money regardless of which direction the market goes. To me, direction's what amateurs play. Bankers, hedge funds, pros use tactics and strategies that remove the influence of direction from the equation, or at least to a large extent. All right, so what Jim really discovered is Parish Trading. So Parish Trading it exploits something called co-integration, which is kind of similar to correlation. You've heard of correlation before. Parish Trading is an example of a parish trade might be where a trader, say, long Apple, but then short a co-integrated and correlated stock like Microsoft. And it could be the reverse. You could be long Microsoft, short Apple. It really doesn't matter. Some people also call this statistical arbitrage. The advantage it gives the trader is it removes the risk of an exogenous market event from the equation. Some big market event happens and the market goes down 30% in 2 days, or even goes up 30% in 2 days. It won't mess up this fund. If this was a short fund and the market went up 30% in 2 days, the fund would have a huge loss. Of course, this is a long short fund. The idea is in a big market move, the long positions ought to offset the short positions. So that means traders that trade this way and allocate this way, they don't really have to worry about, as to the same degree, about market crashes, because this style of trading insulates them from that. Medallion Fund, get this, Medallion Fund, which is the name of the fund. It was Renaissance Technologies Medallion Fund. They charge people 2% every year. So that's twice as much as what YieldMax is charging. Okay. But then in addition to that, you had to pay a 20% share of the profits back to Jim Simons. When he passed away last year, he was worth $40 billion, according to Forbes. He was the 55 richest dude in the world. You can make a lot of money when you manage money and people have to cut you in on 20% of the freaking profits. Can you imagine if we had to kick 20% of the profits back to Jay Petrocelli? Oh my gosh. I mean, look at YieldMax, look at YMAX this year. It's up 25% this year. Okay. Using the hedge fund pricing model, which is 2 and 20. So they would have had to give 20% of 25% is 5%. So Jay Petrocelli would have got 5%, and you would have only got 20%, and really not even 20% because the fee is doubled also. So instead of just 1% like you get with YieldMax, you get an extra percent. So a 2% fee to add insult to injury. So you'd only be up 19% this year. The ETF business has disrupted the hedge fund business. And I think, right here, you can see why. It's not only better as far as fees go, but also ETFs nowadays offer the same strategies that hedge funds used to. And so also ETFs offer a higher level of access. Hedge funds won't talk to you unless you have $5 million. You have to be an accredited investor, whatever that means. When I was visiting with Mike Venuto the other day, we visited the day before, had a pre-interview. He was telling me about this ETF that they sponsor called CLSE. Okay, it's a long short ETF, and it's killing the SPY lately. It does the same thing that Jim Simons does, or similar thing. It engages in Parish Trading. It's the same reason I'm kind of obsessed with covered calls. A covered call transaction is kind of like a long short also, in the sense that you're long the stock, then you're short the call, which is like a short, and you're trying to make money off the difference in the two. It's kind of a type of statistical arbitrage too, in my opinion. Look at CLSE beating the SPY. Now, it came public in February 22nd of 2022. That was right in the midst of the 2022 bear market. Jackson, what are you doing? Don't chase anything, please. So look, it came public right in the midst of that, and you can see about 6 months in, the market hit a low. Look at the SPY. SPY was down more than 10%. CLSE, you can tell just by looking at this chart, was down about 8%. You got about 20% less downside than the SPY. And that's because there's short positions that this fund has. It's not just long positions. They also have short positions. The short positions were up big in 2022, and they offset some of the losses in the long positions. And they were beating buy and hold. I mean, we could use SPY as kind of a proxy for buy and hold, right? All right, so here's their positions. It looks like big tech right now: NVIDIA, Alphabet, Meta, Amazon, and AppLove. And those are their biggest positions. Their biggest shorts are First Solar, Intel, Aspen Technologies, Texas Instruments, and Western Digital. These funds, these types of funds, and the covered call funds, and a lot of different funds are called liquid alts. It's all about the liquid alt. So big key in my ability to keep bringing you this type of information on ETFs like this is my relationship with Jay and Mike. These guys are monsters in the business, right? I wouldn't have known about this ETF if I wouldn't have spoken with Mike the other day. Jay can help us understand the option strategy, and Mike's the key to the bigger picture. Okay, so liquid alts, what are they? So a liquid alt in the ETF business, that refers to an exchange-traded fund that aim to provide the performance characteristics of hedge funds or alternative investment strategies, like options, with the liquidity, transparency, and accessibility of traditional ETFs. These funds allow individual investors and smaller institutions to access strategies that were historically available only to accredited investors or large institutions through hedge funds. So this is the things they offer. They offer liquidity. They offer transparency. We know all about the transparency because retire on dividends and all kinds of other influencers will take their option positions on a daily basis and dissect them. In the old days, that you didn't get to do that. That's a new thing. All right. Also lower minimums. Like I say, I believe accredited investing starts at 5 million. Nowadays, you can have $100 and open up an account, whatever the minimum is for opening an account at wherever, and you can buy one share of these, and you're in the hedge fund business. You're essentially making money off the same stream of income that only rich people used to make money off of. That's why the rich get richer, right? I mean, there's a reason. It's one reason. All right, these aren't your father's ETFs. And remember, this isn't financial advice. Please think about getting a fee-based financial planner. So when you get a fee-based financial planner, he's not trying to sell you anything, or get two of them and get a second opinion. This stuff's important. You can't, if you don't plan right, at 60 and then you run out of money at 70, no one's going to hire you to go back to work. This stuff's important. Get a fee-based planner. It's fun to listen to videos like this and retire on dividends and whatever, but take all this, your new knowledge that you learn, and take it to your financial planner and tell him what you're thinking about doing. He'll look at your exact situation and he'll be able to tell you if it's a good idea for you. I'm giving you things that are good ideas for me, may not be a good idea for you, right? All right. If you like this kind of content, please consider giving it a like and maybe even subscribing. I also have a PayPal address if you'd like to spread some Christmas cheer my way. PayPal.me, max2xd. Merry Christmas, guys. Have a good one.